Okay, so I'm going to go over the portfolio booklet project worksheet with you guys today. So I think I have it in my downloads. Let's see if I can get it open. So this is going to be done in InDesign. It's 15% of your overall grade for this course, and it is required to pass the class. So definitely an important project. We have till April 17th, which is a Sunday, before 11:30 p.m. I want those files in Brightspace. Printed booklets will be due Monday, April 18th by 10 a.m. So for this project, please construct a booklet in full color using Adobe InDesign. Your booklet design will feature your work as an artist. The booklet pages will be set up at 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches tall, with a bleed of 1/8 of an inch. Make sure to leave the facing pages box checked when setting up your document. The length of this booklet needs to be in increments of 4 pages. So the number of pages means, well, they need to be divisible by 4 with a booklet. It needs to divide evenly by 4. So the exact length of the booklet will definitely depend on how many works you include and how big the pictures are in the booklet of your works are, and actually how much you write in your booklet about each piece that you include. So the booklet will feature your digital graphic design work as well as your traditional media pieces. Think about what potential employers will want to see, highlight your strengths, downplay your weaknesses, and we'll also use this booklet when you give your final presentation at the end of the semester. And you will eventually need to print and staple together 3 copies of this for myself, Joel, and another faculty member of your choosing for your presentation. So just remember, you're going to be printing up 3 copies of this later on and using it later on during the presentation at the end of the semester. So one thing with these booklets, we need to include high quality images of your work, or any image that you include needs to be high quality. It needs to be in CMYK color mode. High quality as in the effective PPI is above 300 PPI. The effective PPI is the special number. You can find that in the links panel. You can go through all of your links and check the effective PPI. And they need to be, the images or the links need to be in CMYK. You can use Photoshop or Illustrator to edit images used in your booklet layout. And the links panel will help you with this. You can click on the file in the links panel and then go to edit with Photoshop. And then you can change the files to CMYK by going to Image, Top Menu, and Photoshop Mode, CMYK. I'll go over that in class. Save over the old file or save out a new PSD file and make sure to relink to the new file in InDesign. And that can be done also in the links panel. We're going to go over that in class. The front and back covers should reflect who you are as a graphic designer or artist in just kind of a few seconds. So definitely consider the front and back cover. Spend a little bit more time on those. It can be simple if you want. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but just make sure that you do the simple well. Simple should be done well. It should look clean if it's simple. If it's not simple, you can go kind of more crazy or artistic with it. That's totally fine. You can use illustrations, any designs you've done in the past or pieces of different designs you've done in the past. You can make sort of a collage of that if you want. Or you can make a completely new design for the front and back cover. Just make sure you make it interesting and make sure that the color scheme and the theme kind of show who you are as a designer, artist, person, that kind of thing. So this booklet will include each of the 3 client projects that you completed for this course. It's required that you include at least some text detailing the original goal of each of those client projects. And this text should outline the purpose of the project and any client details, just quick information about your client. Also, a description of the stages of the project would be good to include. So thumbnails, rough drafts, and then any additional changes should be included with the client projects. So you should have at least thumbnails and rough drafts of each of these projects. And then describe any of the challenges that you faced throughout the creation process. Tell us if the client was pleased with the final product. Hopefully they were, because we're trying to kind of play up your strengths here. Obviously, highlight the final version of your client project in the booklet if possible. Make them bigger than the thumbnails and rough drafts that you include, obviously. The final image of the project should be the most prominent in the book, but obviously thumbnails, rough drafts, should be featured, but just smaller, probably. You can include your reworked class project or reworked past project, and as well as other projects you've created outside of this course. Other client projects that you've done outside of class, other projects, you may want to touch them up before you put them into your booklet, but you can include those. Even small changes can make a difference. So if you want to kind of quickly rework most of the projects that you include before you put them in your booklet, that's probably not a bad idea. You should include a paragraph or so of information about the purpose of each of the projects, maybe some client details if you have any, or a brief description of the challenges that you faced along the way. You don't have to include thumbnails and the various stages of these projects if you don't want to with these ones that aren't the client projects. Just some information on the project and just highlight some of the main points with each of those projects, but no need to include thumbnails or various stages that those particular projects went through. That's just with the client projects that you need to do that. You will include a section at the end of the booklet that features your original artwork done in traditional media, so paintings, drawings, photography. You might want to include some more text that goes over the project details, challenges, and processes that you took to create each of those traditional media projects. You'll have to take photos of your projects in decent lighting. I would say, like, if you think you could have a decent phone camera, which a lot of people do, if you take the picture outside in decent lighting with sunlight, a lot of times you can get a pretty good picture from that. But Joel also has a digital camera with lights in Pershing Hall that you can use, and he will go over how to do this at some point during the semester. Okay, so your booklet should include a clear headline or title of some sort on the front cover, and hopefully the imagery plus that headline or title will kind of help to explain to the viewer at a glance, that this is your portfolio booklet. It needs to kind of tell the viewer what it is at a glance. Try using a font pair. Think about the creative use of space for your layout. Obviously, if you're stuck, look online for inspiration. There's a lot of portfolio websites out there that you can look at, that you can use as inspiration. There's a lot to look at. So don't get stuck in your own head. Go out there and look for ideas and bring them back and make them your own. A design layout that reflects you as a designer artist, and your design should highlight your strengths. You can include symbolism that ties into your work as an artist. Obviously the color scheme, I mentioned that before, but definitely choose one that reflects who you are as a designer or artist. And then you need text in your booklet, obviously, for each of your client projects. That needs to be more detailed and actually show the stages of the project. And then also text explaining any of the additional projects that you bring in. But this can be brief text. Just goals, how the final work turned out, some of the basic processes on some of those additional projects. You don't have to be as detailed. We're probably going to thread some text boxes. We're going to put headlines or titles for each section if necessary. So you might have a section for graphic design. You might have a section for traditional media. So you might have different sections. It kind of depends on how you want to organize your content. So you might need headlines or titles for those. We're going to try and probably put in some text wraps in there if necessary. Not totally required for these two, but something to think about. Definitely pick out a good font pair. A decorative one or an eye-catching headline font for the title or headlines, and then one simple, super readable font for body copy or the smaller text. And hopefully the smaller text font that you choose has like a bold, italic, light, regular, because that gives you a little bit of variety to work with the body copy. Page numbers should be on every page. I'll show you how to do that with the master pages in InDesign. So it's kind of up to you how you decide to lay out the text and images. Think of hierarchy of information, how the information should flow throughout the design. What's the first thing the viewer should see? What's the next and the next? And think of how the viewer will approach the booklet, how they might explore it. Keep text out of the middle area where you're going to be folding the booklet. because the text will get sucked in. Keep text away from the outline or the outside margins of the design as well. Don't get too close to the edges. You can experiment with image captions, bylines, headlines, subheadlines. They're not required, but they might help to enhance your design and make it more, easy to flow through for the reader. So files, I want you to upload a zip file in Brightspace by the due date. The zip file should include the INDD file, which is an InDesign file, links folder, fonts folder, and high resolution PDF file with bleeds and crop marks included. So when you export out that PDF file, you'll have to choose, you'll have to check the use document bleed settings checkbox. I'll show you how to do that. Also make sure to include crop marks, and you'll have to do a file package, which is a feature in InDesign. And that will package a folder for you with everything that I'm actually asking for here, and then you'll zip that. And you'll give me the zip file in Brightspace for a grade by the due date. Printing, you're probably going to have to print at the MSU Northern Library. You could probably print at Florence Printing downtown as well if you want. Email them with the PDF file attached to the email. You're going to have to tell them size, color, number of copies, paper type. It's good to ask them when it'll be ready, how much it will cost. Tell them to print actual size. Sometimes they don't do that, and it kind of messes it up. And you might want to go ahead and just print one copy first and see how it turns out, make adjustments, and then print your final three copies for the presentation later on. So we'll just start printing with one, and then once you get it dialed in, you can go ahead and print the final 3 copies for your presentation for myself, Joel, and your faculty member of your choice. Yeah, so just be creative, have fun, take your time with this, but also try to be disciplined in getting this done in time, because it's going to be quite a bit of work, but obviously not impossible. We're going to have, I think, 3 weeks at least to get this done. So just as long as you're kind of staying on task and really working on this and not putting it off and not delaying on it, then you should be fine. All right. In class next week, we're going to go over thumbnails. So definitely work on thumbnails, and we'll talk to you later.